Senator Tammy Duckworth of Illinois. She's a former U.S. Army helicopter pilot and a Purple Heart recipient. Senator Duckworth, thank you for being here. Let me get your reaction to what you saw and heard today, and then I want to play you a little bit more of Trump's speech.
Qualified Secretary of Defense in our nation's history, accompanied by a 5-time draft dodging convicted felon in the Commander-in-Chief, address a whole bunch of generals and admirals in political theater. He's trying to turn them into political props, and frankly, it was unbecoming at the Secretary of Defense, and it certainly was a misuse and abuse of our military. But that's what they've been doing all along since they have taken office these last 9 months.
Senator, what exists in the system where the chain of command is what sort of governs the military, and the loyalty test we're talking about has nothing to do or isn't exclusively about who someone voted for. It's about their willingness to do what is asked of them. What exists in the system in terms of oversight or protections for the military?
Is what Hegseth is trying to dismantle. He's trying to dismantle the inspector generals. He's trying to dismantle the JAG officers. He's trying to get rid of the rules of engagement. These are all the safeguards that exist within our military to make sure that our military men and women execute themselves with the highest levels of professional standards and don't get crossways to the Constitution. That said, we have a professional military. We have men and women who have the highest ethical standards, and we have to rely on them to follow their oath of office, which is not to carry out unlawful orders. That said, you know, we in Congress need to make sure that we hold this president accountable when they abuse the military, and we need to certainly pursue judicial solutions to this. You saw that they lost the court case about sending troops into Los Angeles, for example. So while they continue to try to dismantle the safeguards that exist in the military, we also have to trust in the military men and women and their professionalism, and I trust in them implicitly.
Let me show you what Donald Trump said about using the military in what sounded like an indefinite amount of time here in America.
Last month, I signed an executive order to provide training for a quick reaction force that can help quell civil disturbances. This is going to be a big thing for the people in this room because it's the enemy from within, and we have to handle it before it gets out of control.
And let me just ask you to contrast that with, this is news breaking since we've been on the air. The military is not a law enforcement agency, but this is what Trump did with law enforcement. The Department of Homeland Security cut $187 million, or 86% of Homeland Security funding to New York State, which will radically defund the police, NYPD, FDNY, and New York State police terrorism programs. They are defunding police programs and moving the military in as law enforcement. What can be done to stop that? It sounds like it is the wrong mission for the wrong agency, but he's also dismantling law enforcement.
That were appropriated for law enforcement support, everything from supporting police officers and departments to violence prevention and child protective services. If Donald Trump truly cared about crime, he would put that money back to where Congress intended, which was to support law enforcement across the country. He would work with local law enforcement to make sure that you address crime in our cities. But in fact, that's not what he's trying to do. He's actually just trying to normalize having armed troops in the streets of our nation in time for the election next November, not this coming November, but November of 2026, so that he can once again attempt to steal another election. And frankly, we're not going to let that happen. We can't, our troops did not sign up to be on the streets to intimidate their neighbors. They signed up to protect Americans, to defend the Constitution, to fight our enemies overseas. They did not sign up to turn their weapons on their fellow Americans. This is going to affect the readiness of our military. We're not going to be able to respond to threats from overseas. And I think it's going to significantly affect recruitment. Americans are not going to want to sign up to join a military that is spending its time on the streets of our city harassing their fellow citizens.
You said you're not going to let them. How are you going to stop them?
Well, we as Democrats are doing a number of things. I mentioned that we are suing them in courts. We won the court case in California to show that that was an illegal maneuver to send troops into California. We are going to, you see our Democratic governors refusing to activate our National Guard. The irony is, if, for example, governors from red states like Governor Abbott in Texas, if he truly wants to fight crime, maybe he should send Texas National Guard to a city in Texas that has higher crime rates than Chicago. But that said, we need to hold them accountable.
Senator, thank you so much. I believe the rates in some of those Texas cities are higher than the crime rates, and not with the same trajectory as some of the other cities that have been targeted. Senator Duckworth, thank you so much for watching and being here to talk about today's news with us. We're really grateful.
Thank you.